The newest Android device in the market has a design that is both distinctive and recognizable. The Nothing Phone 1 boasts an eye-catching transparent black plate that reveals some flashing light strips, but it also resembles the iPhone 13 series in terms of overall form. We contrast the two today. It's important to note that the two phones' prices differ by almost $300, but since the iPhone 13 is the most widely used and well-liked iPhone, we believe that a comparison is still appropriate. Before we get started, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell icon to get notified about our latest videos. Design and hardware. The Nothing Phone 1 has a 6.5-inch OLED screen, making it slightly bigger than the iPhone 13. In terms of size, it is actually closer to the iPhone 13 Pro Max, yet it feels just as rough in the hand. The aluminum frame of the Nothing Phone 1 is flat on all four sides and features a glass back. Comparable to the iPhone's rounded corners, this device feels remarkably similar in the hand. The rear of the Nothing Phone 1 is, of course, the translucent glass that reveals the phone's guts, although much of what you see is just for aesthetic purposes. They're beautifully crafted, modular parts that are meant to resemble old-school electronic devices from the 80s. 4 LED light strips on the backside are said to contain over 700 lights. These lights are primarily decorative, but they also have certain useful functions, such as flashing a particular pattern in response to calls from a predetermined list of contacts or acting as a field light when snapping pictures. In contrast, the iPhone 13 is more understatedly styled, especially the basic white one. It weighs 174 grams, less than the Nothing Phone 1, which has 6.1-inch OLED screen, making it smaller and lighter. Display. The Nothing Phone 1 has a screen that is unquestionably more appealing when you flip both around. It has symmetrical bezels around all four sides and only a small hole punch in the upper right corner. Contrarily, the prominent notch on the iPhone 13 causes a significant screen size loss. Although one might easily claim that Face ID, a more advanced biometric security system, is brought by the notch, the optical in-display scanner used by the Nothing Phone 1 is a little sluggish in comparison to Android competitors. The display on the Nothing Phone 1 refreshes at up to 120Hz, but the panel in the iPhone 13 only does so at 60Hz. There's no disputing that a 60Hz display is a little out of date in the mobile sector as we reach the second half of 2022. SoC. The A15 Bionic chip used by the iPhone 13 is significantly more potent than the Qualcomm Snapdragon 778G Plus chip used by the Nothing Phone 1, giving the iPhone 13 an obvious advantage in computing capability. These power disparities, however, will only become apparent when performing extremely time-consuming tasks, such as editing and exporting 4K videos, or when performing various iPhone machine learning tasks, such as applying artificial bokeh to videos or quickly erasing the background from still images with a few taps and swipes. However, there are more specialized responsibilities for particular creative types. The typical person won't notice a difference in power because they only need a phone to send emails, read web pages, view videos, and scroll through social media. Cameras. Both the iPhone 13 and the Nothing Phone 1 have two camera systems on the back and a front-facing selfie camera. The Nothing Phone 1 has a 50-megapixel main camera and an 8-megapixel ultra-wide camera compared to the iPhone's dual 12-megapixel sensors. The main cameras on both phones generally produce excellent pictures. The iPhone has a quicker shutter and typically gets better white balance, but the Nothing Phone 1's pictures have stronger bokeh because of its larger sensor and are somewhat crisper if you pixel peep. The iPhone 13's ultra-wide camera is decent but unspectacular, while the Nothing Phone 1's is more mediocre. That is, they both work well during the day, but while shooting at night, you notice a significant loss of image detail on both phones, more so on the Nothing Phone 1. Selfies are fine on both phones, but the iPhone clearly outperforms the competition in terms of video quality. The iPhone's films have better stabilization, exposure, and colors, the latter of which is made worse by an early glitch that gives Nothing's videos an excessively warm hue. Sure, a software update will remedy this, but for now, to judge these phones based on how well they work in my hands. Speakers, haptics, and memory. The Nothing Phone 1 has more RAM, but it doesn't really matter because iOS has always run just as well with less RAM than Android. Each phone has 128 gigs of RAM as standard. Although the haptics and speakers in the Nothing Phone 1 are quite impressive, they're somewhat surpassed by those on the iPhone 13. Both the haptics and the audio are slightly more accurate. The offering from Nothing, however, is greater than what some other manufacturers would provide at the same price point when you consider that there is a $300 price difference between the two options. Software. The Nothing phone utilizes Nothing OS, a thinly skinned variation of Android 12, except for a tiny number of customization options such as the ability to adjust the LED light strips, which is the business refers to as Glyphs interface. And the choice to make app icons on the home screen is enormous. It's almost like pure yet ready for testing, so the phone can unlock the car doors directly. However, ultimately the experience is very much like Android. It's simply more streamlined. The phone has almost no bloatware, which is largely true, according to Nothing representatives. Only the Google App Suite and 2 Nothing apps, a camera app or a recorder app, are included with the phone when it is first released. While the iPhone 13 uses iOS 15, it should be very familiar to most users. It is the classic iPhone, although the software appears to be best suited for the 6.1-inch iPhone size. There might be issues with Apple not optimizing and differentiating its software to account for different screen sizes. The software behaves exactly the same whether you are using a 5.4-inch iPhone 13 mini or a 6.5-inch iPhone 13 Pro Max. Another Android versus iOS argument isn't really necessary because most people are already aware of the advantages and disadvantages of each program. The iPhone 13 is obviously well suited to iOS, but the Nothing OS that powers the Nothing phone is also very responsive. Battery life and performance. The iPhone 13 is just a more capable phone as the Apple A15 Bionic is substantially more powerful than the Qualcomm Snapdragon 778G+. The Nothing Phone 1 is more than capable for usage as a casual smartphone, nevertheless. The Nothing Phone 1 really feels faster than the iPhone 13 due to its screen's quicker refresh rate. Nothing versus iPhone. Which phone is right for you? Considering the $300 price difference, your budget might be a major consideration. The Nothing Phone 1 is a better value even though the iPhone 13 is marginally more capable. The Nothing Phone 1 has a better screen and longer battery life, but the iPhone 13 has a more powerful processor if you perform intensive tasks. iOS is also supported by a better software and hardware ecosystem. The Nothing Phone 1 is a no-brainer if you're looking for a phone and don't want to spend more than $500. The iPhone 13 will satisfy those who have a little extra cash to spend or who want to fully immerse themselves in Apple's ecosystem because it has historically been the most popular iPhone. That's all for today. So guys, if you find this video valuable, don't hesitate in showing us appreciation by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel.